Next up is Regan Lowring. He's 17 years old and he's a junior at Grady High School. And he is here to talk about making a difference in the world and moving in the spirit. And before he starts to talk, he's going to perform his he and his group's original piece, 101. The score is original, they composed the entire thing, and it's been requested that the entire audience closes their eyes, close your eyes, right now, before they start, and please don't open them until the music starts, and no peeking. Enjoy.
You there? You on my UN?
Now that you're ready for your second lesson.
That last piece you saw was a 101 original composition by Charles Bennett, who is an alumni of Moving in the Spirit. And he put that together this morning at 12:30 p.m. So it's really fresh on the press as far as the original part of the music. Now, how many of you have ever had to use the restroom when you were in class? Raise your hand. So that was the part where they was like, oh. How many of you have ever fallen asleep in class? Raise your hand. Exactly. Now, how many of you have ever had a hard time figuring something out that your teacher was trying to teach you? Raise your hand. Just about everybody in the room. Well, my story is a little bit different, but it might be the same at the same time. Because when I was younger, I used to have a terrible problem with anger management. But the reason why I had that terrible problem with my anger management was because when I was in school, I had teachers. Not all of them, but some of them would tell me that I was stupid. They would tell me that I was dumb. Do you know why they said that? Because I was an SLD student, slow learning disability, or special learning disability, however you want to label it. But I would come in from school, and I would take chairs and tables, and I would slam them all over the house. I tore up at least 3 sets of kitchen furniture at my mom's house. But you know the hard part about all that stuff is that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so I had to pay the consequences for all that anger that I had. But thank goodness I had an opportunity to meet this organization, and I got a chance to start dancing through these people. The name of the organization is called Moving in the Spirit. I was at a Boys and Girls Club and had no idea that they were coming that day, but we had assembly. And at the end of the performance, they said, hey, if you want to come down and learn this quick combination, come on down. And so out of all my friends, I went down and I learned that combination. And I had so much fun that I got Dana's card and I called her every week to make sure that I didn't miss auditions. Had a really terrible first audition, but that's not what Moving in the Spirit was looking for. It was looking for someone that they can mold, someone that they can create, and someone that they can teach how to be a stronger citizen, how to be a more productive person. Because moving in the Spirit strengthens, and we make a difference through dance. We use dance as a tool to inspire, educate, and unite young people here in the Atlanta area. The beautiful thing about Moving in the Spirit is that I did get a chance to come through that. But I started a program called Men in Motion at the same time. A couple of years down the line, I went through the program myself. I started when I was 12, and I graduated from high school and didn't know really what to do other than just go to college. So I was able to do that, once again, through Moving in the Spirit, because they taught me about the fact that I'm a kinesthetic learner. And what does that mean? Well, that means if I put anything academically to movement, I never forget it. There's all these different types of learning. It's called the Howard Gardner intelligence. So there's multiple intelligence in the world. Some people learn best by peer-to-peer. Some people do really good if I'm standing here telling you a lecture. Some people do good if we make a dance out of it. And some people are really wonderful if you just read the information. And so the beautiful thing about Moving in the Spirit is they help me learn that I'm a kinesthetic learner. But in addition to that, Moving in the Spirit gave me an opportunity to start Men in Motion and work with other kids and work with young men specifically. Men in Motion program has been around for 9 years. And from that 9 years, I'm able to work with hundreds of boys. But to be honest with you, it is about the work. But at the same time, it's about the opportunity to continue to give leadership to the young men that I'm working with. And so it is my pleasure to bring to you Regan Lowring and pass on the leadership as he tells you about history.
Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. A famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Moving in the Spirit gives us dancers, from the youngest dancer to the oldest group, the tools to make a difference in the world, either by taking responsibility, taking initiative, or changing others' lives through dance. I started with Moving in the Spirit when I was 3 years old. My mom convinced me to start with Moving in the Spirit because she said it would help my coordination. And coordination was important to me because I wanted to play Major League Baseball. My first teacher was Miss Charnay, and the first thing I took away from her class was respect. Moving in the Spirit is big on respecting teachers and fellow dancers. But not only respect, moving in the Spirit likes to give people positive affirmation. In the world today, there's so many negative thoughts and actions that we need to put some positiveness out into the world. And it takes 5 positive things for every 1 negative thing someone says. So moving in the Spirit created the process of giving sunshine, which is where you tell someone something you like about who they are or what they've done. In Miss Charnet's class, I was given the opportunity to perform like I am today. And from that, I gained experience of being on stage, and I was able to present to my U.S. history class or to participate in debate in high school. I also feel like I was humbled by my experiences on stage, because it's a lot harder than it looks. In Miss Charnet's class, I was the only boy, and as a 3 to 8-year-old, you want to have fun and be roughhousing around and pushing and shoving and playing in the dirt. And I thought about quitting as I was moving up in the program, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because I moved on to Mid Motion, which was all boys with an awesome teacher, Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris was big on there is no I in team, and that we're a unit and we have to act and respect each other like we are a unit. And I think as a world, and we need to work together and treat each other like we are a unit and a team. Mr. Chris held us to a much higher standard. We had to act more mature than we were, because our actions reflected back on Mid Motion and moving in the Spirit. And so what we did either looked good or looked bad on the programs. I remember one time, we were for a show, we were having fun and roughhousing around and being boys. And Mr. Chris came in and he was not happy because we were being unprofessional. So we had he took us outside and made us run steps for 15 minutes before we had to perform. Then we had to go out and perform better than we had in practice. So by doing this, we had to gain experience from this and treat each other and respect each other and take the punishment from one person as a team. But in Mr. Chris's class, that was the only thing I learned. The veterans would always take the lead and show the younger members, like myself, how to act and what to do. And by doing this, I was taught initiation and responsibility. And I looked up to these people, and they became my mentors. Like Malcolm said, it's important to have someone you look up to or who is your mentor, either if you're 3 or if you're 80 or anywhere in between. In Mr. Chris's class, dance took on a new meaning. It was more about physical movements. I learned different types and parts of dance, and it was all boys. But also with these more physical movements and different types and parts of dance comes trust. You have to be able to trust who you're dancing with. Like, I have to be able to trust Danny right now and not drop me on my head. So, we have to trust each other to do these different things. But not only trust, then trust leads to these team building activities and allows us to be a unit. In Mr. Chris's class, I learned many different types, different pieces, like one-on-one, which you just saw. I moved on to the Apprentice Corporation, which is the oldest group moving in the Spirit has. In the Apprentice Corporation, responsibility is taken to a whole new level. It's like having a job. At the beginning of the year, you sign a contract. You have to call if you can't make it to class. You have to keep track of points if you're not going to, that you get every day. And it's not only responsibility during the year, it's responsibility on tour. We go on tour every year, and the dancers are in charge of everything. Each dancer has certain things they're in charge of, but combined, combined creates the whole team of keeping in charge of everything. But not only responsibility, we have to be adaptable. I remember my first tour. We were in Augusta, Georgia, and one of the dancers went down with a wrist injury. And we were not sure if we could do the pieces because she was in every piece. So we had to adapt the pieces so she could perform and we could be able to present to this audience. And later that evening, we had to ask one of the older members to present a solo that they had done, that they created at the beginning of the week at a workshop that we were presenting some of our work at. But not only taking responsibility and being adaptable, moving the Spirit and the AC gives us initiation. We have to clean the studio before every class. We get to lead the warm-up at the beginning of class. And all these things I've mentioned, Moving the Spirit gives. But not only do they give you these tools, they give you a way to channel your emotions. 2.5 years ago, my dad had a stroke. And as a family, moving through this and trying to compensate for all the different things that we had to deal with was hard. And Moving in the Spirit gave me a place to channel this emotion by allowing me to create a solo. I created a solo, and for me, a solo was not just small movement and like every other piece. It was movement that my emotions drove and created. By creating the solo, I was able to channel my emotions into a positive way. As people are struggling through different things, they make rash decisions. They could end up with someone in jail or dead. But Moving in the Spirit gave me a positive way to channel these emotions I was feeling and to changing others' lives through how I performed. But not only channeling emotion, the dancers are behind you through every twist and turn of your life. It's like having 20 brothers and sisters to be there with you through every twist and turn. But not only the dancers, the staff. The Moving in the Spirit staff will drop everything they're doing at that moment you come to them and talk to you and make sure you are heard and you have a voice and you understand that what to do and the right way to go about these emotions of yours. I ask you, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough to change the world? You can change the world, but are you doing that? I challenge you to take what you've heard so far today and what you will continue to hear and make a difference in the world around you.